self-care needs a rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot only be these 1 hour rigid routines. Like, we have got to have the ability to take care of ourselves in those moments where, you know, if you're a mama, the times where you need it most are the times where you can't get on your penf mat or, you know, maybe even go in nature. It's like running carpool to school and the kids are fighting in the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, really self-care is self-connection. And so that the system that I want to fit it into, so we can really give these listeners something to grab onto and hold on to, is it's essentially nervous system regulation. And we can go into that, but if you really zoom out, what that means is in any moment, you can go from feeling completely out of your mind, right? Like you're running late, you spill the coffee, you hit traffic, like that feeling we get where it's just your insides are like shaky and unsettled and you're in your head and you're in future or present time. In those moments, you can instantly get back to yourself. You can instantly go from fight or flight to parasympathetics, or I like to simplify it even more. You can instantly go from living in your head to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you can do that, once you work on who you be, anything you do is just going to be magical and that much better. You know, whether you're connecting with your child or a loved one or writing an email or coming on a podcast, like our most important preparation for any task we have is having the ability to get into our heart. And so what I've done is I've mastered like these 2-minute tools and tips and how to do it. And we can go into that. We can really take this in any direction you want. But I always want women to know we don't have to do it perfectly. This is all practice. We're all practicing so that when we show up for the game, which is that moment in our life that we want to show up as our best self, whether it's a moment with your kids when they're having a meltdown or you're on stage giving a presentation, everything we do in our day-to-day is practice. And that gives us a permission slip to not do it perfectly.
Social media, algorithms, and the modern world largely take us out of the brain states that we need for creativity, to be sharp, and actually run executive functioning. And we don't talk about this often enough. And I've also been guilty of this. So today I'm going to talk with Dr. Melissa Saunders, and we're going to really drill into things that you can do that do not involve buying anything at all, no expensive biohacking equipment required, to really get back in touch with your nervous system. And it doesn't take hours a day. These are not long, extensive routines. But one of the things that I'm seeing in practice with a lot of my students is that they are really dysregulated in the nervous system. And we go through strategies and we change diets and we change light environment, but they continue to be stuck because of this element of the nervous system. So I'm very excited to share this episode with you because I think there are things in it that everybody can walk away with and start implementing today to start feeling more calm, more clear-headed, and then actually have those things that you're doing to improve your health work and stick and not be such an uphill battle. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. Welcome to the Evolving Wellness Podcast, where circadian biology and quantum biology meet nutrition, lifestyle, hormones, health, and everyday conversations. I'm your host, Sarah, board certified in applied quantum biology by the American Naturopathic Medical Board and certified in nutrition by the National Academy of Sports Medicine. This is just a quick little reminder that you'll never hear a guest on this podcast whose every stance I agree with. And that's the point. These are conversations and not consultations. The information shared here is for information and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of a qualified, trusted professional for all of your personal health needs. If you want more of my content, including my free long-form articles with citations, free ebooks, membership group with more access to me and my circadian app that helps you integrate light into your life seamlessly, make sure to visit www.sarahkleinerwellness.com. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I have a friend on today, Dr. Melissa. We have so many exciting things to talk about, and I met her at Carrie's Return to Nature retreat, Carrie and Oksana's retreat. in June of this year, and she just blew me away with her presentation. I just loved it. And then we had the opportunity to kind of sit and chat during this whole retreat thing, and we had a really good connection. And so this is like a long overdue conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. I'm so excited to sit and chat with you and your audience.
Yes. Yes. I know they're going to love you. So yay. Where do we start? What do you think is the most pertinent thing for them to know?
I think, just because you said it, like what in particular did you like about my presentation? What resonated with you?
To me, it felt like the missing piece for people who are trying to integrate circadian biology into their life, really integrate these light dark cycles, really learn how to synchronize the nervous system to these patterns in nature. And it felt just like, oh, wow, this is the one thing I think people are missing, understanding how our brain waves shift through the day, how they're naturally meant to do that. And then realizing that most people are skipping over this really crucial time in the morning, not and they can do that. And what I really wanted to drive home with my people here is you can do that even if you're like going outside for sunrise and you've got the blue blockers and you're kind of doing all of those things. I think you can still mess that up if you we can talk about that. So that's where I would love to start.
Yeah, I love that. I think what's always really important to me is to come from a place of, we were talking about this a little bit before we push record, like simplicity and ease. And to remind women in particular, but really anybody listening to this, is that, I think we've gone kind of far in adding just more to our to-do list when it comes to health. I think we're living in a time where, as women, as men too, but I'm going to speak for the women because I'm a woman, like we are just doing so much. We are maxed out. We are burnt out. Like I just think about, watching my mom as I was little. And of course there was things behind the scene that I wasn't aware of that she was juggling, but it was like a very different time. She had a village. Like I remember growing up playing in our backyards, and it was all the neighborhood kids and all the moms, and we would just rotate houses and people would feed us and we'd come home when it was dark, and they weren't worried about, screen time and apps for school and portals for sports and, wear your best Roman costume to school tomorrow because WTF, like, are you kidding?
I know. Pajama
There's just
day.
like,
You missed
there's just
it.
like, yeah, there's just like too much.
Yeah.
And so, especially when it comes to our health, I think it's so important that we just keep it really simple. And part of that comes from my story of being a woman who was doing my best to do it all. And on top of that, trying to squeeze in my proactive, taking care of myself, my health, my workouts, all the things. And essentially, I mean, it's a long story, but the short version is that led to my demise. That led to my burnout because there was nowhere it would fit. And so I was just getting really rigid with my schedule. I was getting really stressed with where to put in like my 1 hour workout or, whatever it is. I was waking up early, slamming caffeine, not listening to that little whisper inside saying like, this isn't it today. Like, I don't want to lift weights today. I need to sleep in. I need a rest. I want to put my feet up, but I've got to take care of my kids and feed them dinner. Like I needed simple tools to take care of myself that weren't just this constant, masculine energy of push, 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 and do, do, do.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine we can all relate to that in some form. And at some point we hit our limit. And for me, that limit presented as encephalitis and meningitis while I was raising 3 kids, breastfeeding 1.
Ooh.
And so at a very young age, really, I mean, in my late 30s, early 40s, like I thank God for that experience now. Definitely wasn't fun. It was one of the scariest things I've ever experienced in my life. But I know that taking care of myself is non-negotiable. I think we've all heard that a million times, right? Putting your mask on first before serving others. But the biggest thing I learned, and this is what I really want the people listening to hear, and this is what my goal for them at the end of this conversation and throughout woven into this conversation, self-care needs a rebrand. It cannot only be these 1 hour rigid routines. Like we have got to have the ability to take care of ourselves in those moments where, if you're a mama, the times where you need it most are the times where you can't get on your penf mat or, maybe even go in nature. It's like running carpool to school and the kids are fighting in the back,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like to me, really self-care is self-connection. And so that the system that I want to fit it into so we can really give these listeners something to grab onto and hold on to is it's essentially nervous system regulation. And we can go into that, but if you really zoom out, what that means is in any moment, you can go from feeling completely out of your mind, right? Like you're running late, you spill the coffee, you hit traffic, like that feeling we get where it's just your insides are like shaky and unsettled and you're in your head and you're in future or present time. In those moments, you can instantly get back to yourself. You can instantly go from fight or flight to parasympathetics, or I like to simplify it even more. You can instantly go from living in your head to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you can do that, once you work on who you be, anything you do is just going to be magical and that much better. Whether you're connecting with your child or a loved one or writing an email or coming on a podcast, like our most important preparation for any task we have is having the ability to get into our heart. And so what I've done is I've mastered like these 2-minute tools and tips and how to do it. And we can go into that. We can really take this in any direction you want. But I always want women to know we don't have to do it perfectly. This is all practice. We're all practicing so that when we show up for the game, which is that moment in our life that we want to show up as our best self, whether it's a moment with your kids when they're having a meltdown or you're on stage giving a presentation, everything we do in our day to day is practice. And that gives us a permission slip to not do it perfectly.
Yeah, I think that is going to resonate with so many people that listen because, yeah, when you're a mom, when you're even at a job, you're having to work for someone else, do for others constantly, you're being asked of, and you're having to kind of go out of yourself nonstop. And it does to that person, I know, because I talk to a lot of those people, feel how in the world do you do self care? How in the world do you figure that out? How do you have nervous system regulation in a world that is constantly, I mean, from the lights in our offices, the overheads, those are doing things to the brain, putting us into high beta. How do you do that? I think that's the biggest question and the biggest source of frustration that I get with people in my communities and just in my comments and emails is like, how?
Yeah, there's a super easy system for having the ability to regulate your nervous system no matter what's going on. And we can break it down into 3 easy steps. And I would love to do that right now if that works for you.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, first, I just want to kind of create like a little zoomed out, not so much a story, but like so we're all on the same page with what the nervous system is, right? So that we kind of label this with an understanding. I look at our nervous system like the hardwiring of us as a machine. And so I think we all know that our nervous system is like how we read the environment, right? We hear a loud noise. Do I go into fight or flight to quickly assess, is there a threat? Do I need to run for my life? Or did someone just drop a book next to me and I can relax, right? And so we are hardwired with this ability to react and respond for our survival. Now, the big thing that has happened is our DNA has not changed,
Right.
but our environment has. And so, as mammals, we are supposed to be able to have this fight or flight, have this nervous system response, let's call it stress. And then once we either run or freeze or fight or whatever it is, we're supposed to regulate. We're supposed to have the come down. And if we did, all would feel good in our world. But what has
Mhm.
happened is because of our environment, like you just touched on, the light, our tasks, what we're doing, the stories we play out about the stress we just experienced, right? Like I live
Mhm.
in Miami, a car cuts me off in traffic. It could be a one and done. Oh my God, slam on the brakes. Okay, we're safe. But instead, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. There's times where I'm like, freaking A, who is that? Why are they doing that? I'm late to,
Mhm.
like you create this whole story, which prolongs the stress response.
Mhm.
Or, we're no longer running from like a tiger like we were back in the day. we are constantly exposed to a quote unquote tiger because the person next to us in our cubicle stresses us out. So I'm saying all that to say, like, our nervous system has now been trained, for lack of a better word, to stay in this elevated state.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so cool is that the nervous system is very malleable and it can always change. And so I'm going to teach you how to retrain your nervous system. And what's really important to hear in these tools that I'm going to give you, these 2-minute tools, is one, you're probably already doing them. You probably naturally crave some of these things. And so now all I want you to do is anchor some intention and some awareness to what you're doing, because these small things we often see as like so subtle, they're not moving the needle. But the reality is our nervous system learns through small, consistent, repetitive actions. And so it's not the 1 hour massage that retrains our nervous system. It's the 2-minute breaks, every hour and a half for 3 hours, where we simply look up from our computer and take a brain break, a true brain break.
Mm-hmm.
And so these tools I'm going to share are so easy and simple that they could almost be overlooked. But I will promise you, in the decade that I've geeked out on the research behind this and bridging, science and ancient wisdom, these things work better than any tool I have ever been exposed to. I've been in the biohacking sphere for 20 years. I've got a hyperbaric chamber right next to me. I've got a sauna behind me. I've got an IV. I've used the best of the best in the heavy hitters, and I've never felt better in my life as a 44-year-old woman, physically, mentally, spiritually, than I have today. And it's these tools, these 2-minute tools and practices that I use throughout my day. Any
Amazing.
questions before we hit them?
No, I'm like, okay, tell me what
Okay.
do I do? What do we need to do?
Okay. So one of the first ones that I love, I use all the time, I'll do it right after we hop off this podcast before I go into my meetings, is expanded gaze. Okay, so think about, we often are looking at something in very, short, like right in
Mm-hmm.
front of us. So right now you and I are looking at our computers. If people are watching an episode or something on YouTube, they're doing the same.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at our phones, et cetera, et cetera. Every time we do that, we are training our nervous system. We are telling our nervous system through our eyes directly into our brain that we need to be on alert.
Mm.
And so we might not even feel that in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but you think about, if you're someone who works from home or you're on Zooms or you're on emails, you will get,
Scrolling your phone at night before bed.
yeah. And like, again, let's be really real. There are times I do all these things, even with what I know. And so I
Yeah.
definitely want to talk about that piece. We'll talk about awareness later. But if you spend your day on the computer, like I like to say, your nervous system is your intuition, and she will speak to you in signals and symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you might not be getting this alert, like I'm super stressed, but you might get a signal that's really subtle and like a whisper that's like, God, I just need a break. I
Mm-hmm.
just need like a minute. Like I'm feeling fried. Like this task feels really difficult. And I think because all we know as a brain break is to scroll our phones, or like, I don't know if you guys have ever thought this way, but okay, I've got a 2-minute break. There's really nothing I could do to take care of myself because I only have 2
2
minutes.
minutes, right.
So I'm going to scroll my phone and I'm going to push through. And at the end of the day, I'll take a break. When you do that, you are literally seeding your nervous system to live in, like Sarah just said, beta. And so then when you get to the end of the day, and I don't know how
Can't
many
wipe
of you have
out.
tried to like sit down and read a book and your head's like, what am I doing? I have so
No.
much to do. I should write that email, because we've trained our nervous system all day to stay in that go, go, go mode.
Yep.
And so all you got to do here, I call it microdosing. This is microdosing connection and nervous system regulation. I'm not talking about taking mushrooms or anything like that. So you literally use these 2-minute pockets and you can be so effective with them. So one of my favorite things is the 2-minute expanded gaze. So all you got to do is put your stuff down for 2 minutes and look at something beyond about 5 to 10 feet from you. Ideally in nature, because then it's like a double stack. This is, I call it my lizard walks. Like I go around the corner. We live in Miami. It takes me 30 seconds to walk there. I look at this field of iguanas. I laugh because they all like run. And sometimes I'll post it on my stories and I put like funny music to it. It's like the running of the bulls. And then I come home and I, hit those emails. And what you're doing from a neurological perspective, when you do that 2-minute break, because I want to drop some of the science here. So you know this is super powerful. This isn't just woo-woo.
Hmm.
You are quieting your amygdala. Your amygdala is a part of your brain that's like a security guard that's on alert. So you're literally like reprogramming the hardwiring just by looking up and out.
Mm.
You are telling the security guard, chill out, we're safe. You are lowering cortisol. You are activating your parasympathetic nervous system. You are boosting dopamine, our feel good chemical. And so, like, you literally will feel like you're doing nothing. You literally might at first feel like you're wasting time, right? Like, how dare I do this? I've got so much to do. You are activating your alpha brain waves, which for anyone who doesn't know what alpha literally gets you into present time consciousness. It's the state that people meditate for years to try to achieve. It's flow state. It gets you into your heart and it regulates your nervous system. Like you have no choice but to be regulated after you do something like this. And so when we do this consistently over time, what you start to realize is like, wow, I got it all done today. And
Hmm.
I feel pretty good. I'm not, snapping at my loved ones now that the day's done and I can relax. I can actually get in my heart and present time because I practiced it today.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably spent 6 to 8 minutes total doing it. And that was 6 to 8 minutes that I was just scrolling my phone because I didn't think that there was anything I could do that was effective in those minutes. So that's one. I call these by the way, because I think I love like wordplay and I love having almost an assignment. I think we all need a to-do task, even though I want to
Mm-hmm.
get everyone away from that. But I call these your regulation reps. So these are things you want to do frequently throughout your day. You want to do 2 minutes, 3 times a day for you. So everyone write down, I'm going to do my regulation reps and I'm going to do them 2, 3, 4. 2 minutes a day, 3 times a day for you.
I love that.
The next one, can I give you another one?
Yes,
Okay.
I don't think anyone's going to complain about having more tools.
Yes. And like, please, 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 guys, I don't know if this is you, but this was past version of me. I definitely did not think that these tools would move the needle. And I know I already said it, but I'm going to say it again because if you told me, I don't know, like I always heard gratitude practice and
Oh yeah,
journaling and all of these things, and I rolled my eyes just like you just did.
they
And
do
I was
help.
like,
They do help.
they help. And I don't know, I felt like I had to do them perfectly and I
Right.
had to have this huge chunk of time. And I didn't feel like if I wasn't doing, an hour of something that it was effective. So I just didn't do them.
I
These
think people are
things,
so conditioned to, if I didn't pay a lot of money for it, or if it's not some complicated thing, then
yeah,
what's the point? That's why I
great.
resisted sunlight for so long, of just morning sunlight. And I'm so happy when I get a message from a new person, which is almost every day now, of I just started doing what you said about going outside in the morning. I can't believe how well this works. This is so crazy. And so I think the people that listen to this are more open to these sorts of things.
Good.
But I don't know, you
Well,
guys let me know.
I've been, since I met you, I have been geeking out on your app. I'm obsessed with your app and I'm like gamifying it. And
Yay.
like you had told me when you came on my podcast, ultimately it's just following, like just go out in the sun, which I love,
Mhm.
you keep it so simple. But I'm hearing the same things from my friends that I'm like, go get your 10,000 lux. I think it's nice at the beginning to know, check done, right?
Mhm.
Like I hit that number, I got it, I nailed it. And so that's why I created this 2, 3, 4, like check
Mm.
done. Okay, you did your 2-minute walk, you did your 2-minute, expanded gaze. You're essentially what you're doing is you're clearing the slate. Like again, our insides haven't changed, but our environment has. So think
Mhm.
about before we all had phones everywhere we went, these are things that we naturally did because you naturally do what you need for survival and what you need to function as a mammal, say, right?
Mhm.
And so we would naturally look up and out at the grocery store when you're waiting in line. We would naturally daydream if you're the passenger in a car. Like I
Yeah.
feel like the best mom in the world when I catch my kids daydreaming. Like you are clearing the slate and giving your brain room to the reality is probably like hit the next task.
Did you know that there are specific times of day, particularly in the morning, that simply going outside preconditions your mitochondria to have a better blood sugar response to your food, helps you with cortisol, can help regulate your appetite, can help you with your gut, and actually programs that night's sleep. Yes, the melatonin you make at night starts in the morning. That's why I created my circadian app. This app lets you know exactly what times to go outside in the morning and then what times it's appropriate to start blocking artificial light at night. The app also has a lux meter because there are dozens and dozens of studies showing that our brains not only need those frequencies of red, near infrared, and UV in the morning to get all of those processes started, but we also need enough lux or brightness. And so even on a cloudy, rainy day, your lux can reach up to 10,000. So a lot of people may not feel motivated to go out during those times, but the lux meter within the app will really, really help you to stay motivated. Now, I'm doing a free webinar for my circadian app on Friday, November the 7th. And if you can't attend live, simply signing up will allow you to receive the replay to your email address. If you're interested in learning how to use my circadian app for the everyday person, or if you are a practitioner and interested in really putting this into your client programs, this webinar is for you. It's completely free. It's 90 minutes long, and you will have the ability to ask me questions after I show you a demo of these app features that you can start integrating into your daily life and feel the effects of light pretty quickly and how they really support better brain health, better sleep, and better mitochondrial health, which is going to ultimately lead to more longevity. I hope you'll join me. The link will be down in the show notes for you. Be more creative. I think that we
Yeah.
lose track of that. And I've gotten back to my daily meditation practice. I learned how to meditate in 2017, had a teacher, did the whole thing. And I did it for years until I had my son, and then having a newborn, and then my daughter getting sick. And just, I got out of my twice a day meditation practice, and I've just really tried to push it back in. I'm not perfect at it, but I realize the days that I will take the time out in the middle of the day to sit quietly for 20 minutes and do my practice, that I'm so much more creative. And I think we get in this trap of thinking, hey, I need to think through this. I need to brainstorm through this. I need to work through this. And then what we actually need to do sometimes is just stop, like you said, daydream. For me, meditate, go for a walk. Um, and then a lot of the times the answer just comes through when we're not really expecting it. That's how the brain really works. But we get so trapped in this like routine and masculine. Not to say there's anything wrong with masculine, but it's just more of a, strategic list making. We get stuck in that place and forget this creativity energy needs that space and that time to daydream. Didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off. I
100%.
was just excited
No,
about what you were saying.
I love that you said that. I think that's so important because we are creative beings. We have all the answers. You think about if you ever, if you've got like a really good friend that helps you solve problems, or a
Mhm.
really good practitioner, a really good therapist, they probably really are a really good listener. And they're providing space for you because you are your best guru.
Mhm.
And, we're living in a time when so many women feel disconnected from ourselves.
Mhm.
And you think about, like, how could we not? When do we give space for our own thoughts?
Mhm.
And just like you said, Sarah, when we create it, think about how many times if you've heard someone say, I get my best ideas in the shower.
Yes. Or on my
You're in
walk.
you're in theta. You are in
Mhm.
your theta brainwaves, and that is a direct channel to, whatever it is you believe, God, source, your intuition. And sometimes the shower is like the only place where nobody's bugging us.
I know,
There's
right?
no phone in our hand. I love podcasts. I'm on your podcast right now. I have a podcast, but like, how much are we filling our space in any moment with a podcast or someone else's voice? Like, we have
I
got to.
catch myself doing that still. I'm like, I need to do this task. I need to get these dishes done. What can I listen to? What should I listen to? And then sometimes I have to just stop and say, why? You don't need to listen to anything
Mhm.
right now. Listen to the clinking of this the silverware. Just be okay with quiet. And I think we've gotten so much into this dopamine driven society, high beta society, that don't feel comfortable anymore with those moments of silence and peace. And then at the same time, we're stifling our ability to connect to our bodies, to be intuitive, and to just have to be able to wind down and relax, period.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
100%. I
yeah.
love a question audit, just like you said, if you're doing dishes or you're driving somewhere, it's like, what can I listen to?
Yeah.
For a while, I just practiced inserting me.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna listen to me. Or, I would ask myself, I don't know if you ever do this, but I would like almost subconsciously grab my phone. Like, who needs
Mhm.
me? What message did I miss? So hop off this podcast and be like, okay, I was away from everyone for an hour,
Yeah.
and who
Holy
needs
shit.
me?
Right.
Right. But now what I work on doing, and it doesn't work every time, it's training and it's practice. But as I set my hand on my phone to grab it and pick it up, I'm like, well, I
What am I
need
doing?
me.
Right.
I need me. And so I'm going to go on my walk. I'm going to leave my phone here and I'll be back in 2 minutes. And like, if the school called, if my husband called, like, I will get there in 2 minutes.
Hmm.
And so it's this practice. And also, you said, and I think this is a really important point to touch on, like, I think at first we're uncomfortable with that empty space because we're not
Hmm.
used to it. And I think, busyness is a really easy excuse to distract ourselves from the things that we don't want to hear.
Hmm.
And I will say, like, I was very scared to go there, to be honest. I was very scared to hear some of the thoughts that I would have and some of the things about my reality and my life that maybe I wasn't loving so much. But I will tell you, when you do this with regulating your nervous system, it becomes more comfortable and it feels less scary because ultimately, that amygdala, our inner security guard, will flag anything new and unfamiliar as unsafe. And so, like Sarah just said, as that example, when we're going to do the dishes and we're so used to listening to someone else's voice other than our own, when we do something new and unfamiliar and decide, okay, I just listened to that chick on Sarah's podcast and she's like, listen to yourself. And you go to do that and it's new, your
Hmm.
amygdala will do everything it can to talk you out of that because it wants the old
Hmm.
story. You will choose an old hell over an unknown potential heaven
Hmm.
99% of the time because your nervous system craves familiarity.
Yeah.
And so when you're doing these 2, 3, 4 reps, you are slowly teaching that security guard, this is safe. And so again, you're not even going to essentially realize it, but what will start to happen is in those moments, in those spaces, you will start to choose yourself. And you won't
Mm.
even necessarily like realize it. Like just, it's, I give this analogy. It's kind of an interesting one, but my son he's 15. He put a pull-up bar on his doorway of his room. And for a while, he was going to the gym for like an hour when we could, when he didn't have after school stuff. And he was building muscle. And then like life got kind of busy, school got kind of busy. And so he started using this pull up bar every time he went in his room and he would do one pull up. He is so much stronger today than he was when he was going and pushing the 1 hour workouts at the gym like once or twice a week.
Wow.
Because what happens is with consistency over time, all of a sudden, you're like, I didn't even feel like I was doing anything and I can string 50 pull ups together. And that is how retraining your nervous system works. And so when you can do 2, 3, 4 reps every day, all of a sudden you're going to go to the dishes and you're going to be like, you know what? I kind of want some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
I kind of want to clear the slate. Like this actually feels really good. So I'm going to choose it. And you're like, whoa, who is this girl?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we
And
need more of that. We really do.
we do, like in all the noise of all the things that we're supposed to do, please do this because this ends up not being a do. This is changing who you be.
Hmm.
And there's this is like a whole other podcast, but maybe even look up be, do, have. Have you ever heard of this, Sarah?
I feel like I have, but it's been a minute.
So let's just tease it a little bit, but this is really powerful. So many of us have been taught to approach the world from a place, from a lens of do, have, be.
Uh,
Let me do this thing because then I'm going to have what I want.
mhm.
Let me let me work really hard. Then I'm going to have the house of my dreams because I made all the money. Then I'll be happy.
Right.
It doesn't work.
No.
So this is flipping the switch. Everything we're talking about here today starts with who you be. And
Mm,
so when you can first impact who you be, it becomes really easy to do the things that are required to do to have what you want. It's an identity flip. And this is how
mhm.
manifestation works.
Yep.
This is how certain people out there are like lucky. Like, why are there people that are just, they decide they want this thing and they go for it and they get it? It's be, do, have. It's a formula. It can't fail. And so, when I say like, please do this, like, please insert this into your to-dos, it's not a to-do. It's who you be, and everything from there changes.
Hmm. Okay, I have to tell you about one of my favorite low tox swaps that I just switched to over the last year, and it's on special for the next 2 weeks only. So, if you haven't heard by now, I love Truly Free and all of their products, but I just switched my dishwashing over within the last year because I was using a low tox pod. Now, what I didn't know about the pods is that most dishwashing pods are actually wrapped in polyvinyl alcohol, which is a synthetic plastic that doesn't fully biodegrade. It dissolves in water, but it turns into microplastics that can end up in our water supply, on our food, and on the dishes that we're trying to actually wash. Inside of those pods are harsh stabilizers, synthetic fragrances, and things that cling to your plates and glasses, which means you're literally eating and drinking off of a thin film of chemicals that can mess with your thyroid, estrogen, and your leptin. So today, I'm super excited for you guys to check out Truly Free's complete kitchen detox bundle. And it includes 50 free loads of their enzyme powered dishwasher soap, a free dishwasher cleaner that dissolves calcium, hard water buildup, and soap scum. And I hadn't really cleaned my dishwasher since we bought it. So this is a fantastic tool. And a free rinse booster made with natural salts for crystal clear glasses and zero water spots. So there's no pods, no plastics, and it actually works because my complaint with a lot of the low tox cleaning products is they don't actually work. So if you want to grab this bundle, like I said, it's only available for 2 weeks. Head down to the link in the show notes and check it out. Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things for people. We say the same person is going to get the same results, and if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's all these little sayings that have been repeated to me over the years, but there is a lot to that. And I saw there's a manifestation gal that I follow. I really like. I resonate with her. Kathleen Cameron is her name, and she
Mm.
showed herself walking on the beach in Malibu. She used to be a nurse making nurse wages, right? And just trapped in a salary essentially. And one day she realized like she wanted to do more. She wanted to be more. And so she said the woman who's on the beach in Malibu they just bought their first home in Malibu from her successful business. And she said, I became this woman before I had this.
Mhm.
So I took on this identity of this woman before I had all the things. And I think that's really powerful for a powerful analogy of what you're saying with the be do have, because it's more of that striving and list making and checking off. And I see people do it. I get caught in it. I get caught in, okay, I need to outwork it. I feel like I can outwork things sometimes, and then I get frustrated. I'm like, this is not
Mhm.
working. It's
Right. Yeah, and it's a lot more fun, you can like kind of gamify your life like that
Mhm,
woman in Malibu did.
mhm,
This can be something as big as, I want to attract this dream partner in this dream relationship. Well, okay, take a good hard look at yourself, and are you the kind of person that that person would be attracted to?
right.
Right? Or is this a pipe dream that you're like, when
Mhm.
I have this guy, then I'll be calm and happy? No, calm and
No,
happy
it
first, and
doesn't
he'll come
work
into
that
your
way.
life.
Not
Or
with
like,
uh.
I shared my gymnastics video on that stage, and so you can make this really light and fun. I just real quick, I loved gymnastics as a kid. It was the dream that I never wanted to let die, and I quit because I got shy and I got scared to compete. And I decided at the age of 42 to go back. And what I started doing is I would go through my life and be like, what decision would a gymnast make right now? Whether it was like, getting out of bed and sitting and reading a book, which I love to do, or getting out of bed and stretching and doing some mobility, or okay, I want to fast right now, or I'm going to fuel my body with protein and salad. I have an opportunity to go out with friends and stay up late, or I can go to bed early and hit the, gymnasium tomorrow morning. So I would start to approach my life with like, I want to be a gymnast again. So let me make choices from that mindset. And the last thing I'll say on this, James Clear talks about this in the book Atomic Habits, which is a really good book. He says, if you offer a cigarette to two people that are trying to quit smoking, and one says, I don't want the cigarette because I'm trying to quit, and the other one says, I don't want the cigarette, I don't smoke, the second one will likely never take that cigarette because they have changed who they be. They have changed
Mm-hmm.
their identity so that they
Mm-hmm.
can step into that future whole version of themselves.
Yep. I love that.
And we can be who you want to be, like we all have different lives. We're all stacked with different cards. And so, of course, there's like limitations and stories, but maybe not as many as we're putting on ourselves.
Yeah. You have to catch that. You have
Mhm.
to check for those stories that pop up because mine do. And I'm like, oh, she's still
Same.
here.
Same. I have very much like a victim and a martyr version of me.
Yeah.
And I will
Oh,
go
yeah.
there very easily. And I think maybe this is a good place to talk about that awareness piece, because
Mm,
there is so much power in just being aware of what we're doing.
mm-hmm.
And I think this is really important for all of us women to really understand, because as we're working on, new habits or trying new things, okay, I heard this podcast, I'm now going to do the dishes and try something different. Well, crap, that didn't feel good. And I put on a podcast instead. Okay, great. Like, great. That was practice.
Yeah.
And you're aware that you made a choice that maybe you don't want to make anymore, and maybe doesn't work for you, and maybe doesn't give you the outcome you want, but who cares?
Right.
The power is in that there was a fork in the road, and instead of just taking it without thinking about it, you were aware.
Mm-hmm.
You're aware that you're scrolling and doom scrolling your phone and that you should be out on your lizard walk. Okay, great. That's a win. You're practicing. You're creating the awareness. And as you create the awareness, you are also retraining your nervous system. This is not a path that I'm going to choose to take anymore. And you're also training it like this is there's a pause and you create a choice. And so you're no longer just reacting from like a past script that probably isn't even your own.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
those voices in your head from your mothers, fathers, teachers, preachers. I want to go take this crazy fun dance class. How dare you all look ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not me.
Mm-mm.
It's not
No.
me. And so maybe I'll not sign up for the dance class because that voice, but like, I'm going to stop and realize that voice is no longer me. And so it's going to get quieter and quieter, and mine's going to get louder. So I say all that to say, like, when you create an awareness around your choices, even if you are choosing the old path, like, please count that as a win. That is not a loss.
Yeah. And also, we're not, it's probably an educational podcast. I'm hoping it's not like a murder mystery podcast or the news or
The news.
junk. It's something that's probably has some information in there that was helpful in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we have to just look at it through that lens also, because I used to be
Yeah.
addicted to the, oh my god, all the 48-hour mysteries and
Oh, the true crimes.
how did I used to watch that stuff? It was in my 30s, and I
Mm-hmm.
just something happened. I think the last time after I quit drinking almost 9 years ago, where my resonance with that stuff was totally gone. I just couldn't watch it anymore. Like a switch went off, for better or worse, but I can't tolerate that stuff anymore. So,
Yeah, it's an energy, and you
yeah.
shifted your energy, and so you're attracted to different. I mean, you know that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so another tool, just so we leave
Yes.
people with just a couple of these. And this one, actually, I know we keep going back to this dishes thing. So it can be the dishes, it can be when you're out on a walk, it could be when you're in the car, like any moment that you fill with someone else's voice and input. But kind of a caveat here, because I am going to tell you to insert something to listen to in this pocket. So I wonder, for the mamas listening, if there's ever been a time when maybe you've had a full day at work and you get to the end of the day and you're like making dinner for everyone or doing the homework juggle or whatever it is, and you get that like whisper, that inkling, like, God, I'm burnt out. I want to put my feet up. I mean, for me, I'd get like a little bit of resentment sometimes, like, I need something for me and I just can't access it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that was like one of those windows where I think it led to my illness, because I didn't think I had an answer that could fit in that moment when I'm juggling and taking care of everyone else. Sometimes I would fill it with a glass of wine, because I'm like, all right, well, I can't do anything for me, but I can at least have this glass of wine. It's like passive and I'm still cooking and makes me feel like I have something for me, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
disconnect, essentially. It was an escape from what wasn't feeling great. I'm not, for me, I don't care if people drink or don't drink. I think what's really important is to check your intention around why you're going to it. Right.
Yep.
And so for me, it was
Yep.
an escape. And what I've started doing in that time instead is another one of these 2-minute tools, and it's putting on fun music. And as silly as that sounds, like 2 minutes of a good song has the same effect on our nervous system and on our biology as 30 minutes on a PEMF mat.
Hmm.
So you think about, like, for me, if someone had said, you know what, I'll take over dinner, like go lay on your PEMF mat, that would have been amazing.
Great.
I'd been like, oh my God, that's everything I need right now. The reality is putting on your favorite song on Google. I have a Google in my kitchen. I love my Google. I know some people don't like having devices that can listen in. I'm like, it's worth it to me to be able to play music at any time. So putting on a 2-minute song lowers your amygdala activity. Again, it boosts dopamine, it boosts oxytocin, it creates connection. So I do this with our children. We have 3 kids. I've got to put this video on our Instagram. My kids finally gave me permission to do it. But it's, there was a moment I had my camera set up in the house. I was doing the kitchen thing because I was literally going to show a reel of like kind of the hell that is like the bewitching hour. And then
Mm-hmm.
one of my kids put on a song like in the midst of it. Our camera happened to be on. And it's so cool because you literally see the entire room shift. Like what went from tension and they were probably fighting and I was like mad and saying all these stories about like I need a break and I'm always doing for everyone and blah blah blah. All of a sudden we're like dancing in the kitchen. And
Mm-hmm.
again, these sound kind of cliche and they sound kind of subtle, but again, like this is as effective as a 30-minute session sitting on a grounding mat by yourself doing your thing. And I'm not here to say that we don't want both. Like this isn't either or, this is both and. And the
Mm-hmm.
things that I'm talking about here are the micro tools, because we've put in so much power in the macro. And I love the macro. Like I said, I have them in this room. I used my sauna last night, felt great, slept great. But like we've got to start to understand how powerful the micro tools are, because that is what we actually have access to.
Mm-hmm.
We all say we don't have time. Yes, our time is very packed and somewhat limited, but I think most of us have these 2-minute pockets. We just don't know how to use them effectively to move the needle. And that's everything that we've talked about so far. That's what fits there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's so simple. It's not like you have to go out and buy anything at all. It's
Yeah.
things that you already have access to. Going and taking a minute, looking outside, 2 minutes, 3 times a day. You guys should be doing that anyway.
Well, yeah, because again, self-care needs a rebrand,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everything you think about, everyone listening, like think about when you hear the word self-care
Mm-hmm.
or when you're craving self-care. And like there's that thing, that if you could just get to it, if you just had time, like then you would be okay. So whatever that thing is, like define it for you. So maybe it's a massage, or maybe it is like a 1 hour workout, or maybe it's a yoga class, or maybe it's just like an hour to yourself. What you get from that experience is nervous system regulation.
Mm-hmm.
What you get from nervous system regulation is you move from your head to your heart. And what you get when you move from your head to your heart is you get you back.
Hmm.
And so self-care needs a rebrand. It's nervous system regulation. And it's ultimately it's connection back to you, because you are the magic, you are the medicine, you have been all along. And this is just your portal to get back there.
I love that. Love that. Let's talk, because I know we want to talk about your book and we're coming up on the hour in a little bit here, but I really want to talk a little bit about those different brain waves because I thought that was a really cool
Mm-hmm.
adjunct for
Yeah.
people, and kind of what I alluded to in the beginning of the episode, that you can do the circadian routine and still pull yourself out of those really important brain waves that we need to be in the morning by, even if you have your blue blockers on and you're looking at your phone, like you, so you're following the rules, you can pull
Mm-hmm.
yourself out of these really important brain waves in the morning and skip over, go straight into beta, and still be like, oh, why do I just don't feel great. So how does all of
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah, I love the brainwave system. And if we run low on time, or if people like hear this and love this and want more, I made a whole resource, and it's when you pre-order the book, you get this whole kind of
Ooh,
like package deal on this. So I'm sure
fabulous.
we'll link that below.
Yes.
And I've got a lot of resources on it on my Instagram and all the things. Okay, so we're essentially cyclical beings, like you guys all know from following Sarah, and like how circadian rhythm is really effective for how we function. When we align with our rhythms, we live in more of a state of flow than force. And so, there's a circadian rhythm cycle. There's, for women, we have a menstrual cycle. And one thing that I never heard talked about that I found when I was digging through like all the science on this is our brainwave cycle. And what's really cool about the brainwave cycle is whether you're a man or a woman, this applies. You have an opportunity in any moment of your day where you've lost track of yourself, gotten into your head, dysregulated your nervous system to easily reset, right? So you've got those 2-minute tools we've talked about. And then this is a little bit different. But again, this is like a system and a formula that you can follow. And I think we all kind of function really well that way. So you think about our brain and like the way we move through our day as 5 gears. And so, what we often do when we wake up in the morning, if we grab our phones and it doesn't have a red light filter on it, or if we have overhead lights, I mean, Sarah talks about all this stuff, or we go right into work mode, we go right into gear 3. It's called our beta brainwave. All you got to do, and I loved this because this helped me as a busy mama, as a busy woman, realize I don't have to have a 1-hour routine in order to be my best self. This
Mm-hmm.
can literally be just like an intentional 2 to 5 minutes. Ideally, it's longer than that. But all you got to do, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it, is to spend time in gear 1 and 2 first. So, gear 3 is beta. That's where we're spending way too much time. That's like our to do mode. Gear 1 is theta, and gear 2 is alpha. We can kind of talk about like some do's and not do's in order
Mm-hmm.
to spend time in that gear. Okay. So theta is gear 1. That is, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the podcast. That is your voice. That is your connection to source, God, intuition. And so in the morning, the action step we want to take is listen, right? And so this is about listening, and it's not about listening to someone else. Like, this isn't even when I'd put on someone else's meditation track or podcast. This is listen to you. And so, this can be in your bed. This can be like, I've got what I call a little sit spot behind me where I just sit and I'm kind of like half in that dream world and half awake. And again, this doesn't have to look perfect. This doesn't have to be like, oh, I have all these ideas and clarity. You're creating space for your voice because it will start to get louder the more you give it an opportunity to. So at the beginning, this might literally look like you're sitting there and you're like, what am I supposed to be doing? I've got like a really full day. How am I going to get it all done? Great. Great. That's your voice. And you spent time listening to it. Because again, as we practice this, what happens is essentially what you start your day doing, you're going to find and create later throughout your day more easily. So if you start your day by jumping on your phone and getting on emails and getting on work mode all day, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, like you're at a red light, you're going to check your phone.
Yep.
You have a second break, you're going to check your phone because you are like teaching your nervous system every day. It's a fresh slate. This is what we
Yep.
do.
Yep.
This is what we do in the space. So if you can just take this 5 minutes for theta, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, then when you're at the grocery store, like maybe you're not going to grab your phone. Maybe you're going to look around and you're going to clear that slate. And maybe as you're looking around, you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Like I've got this challenge and like, whoa, that's a really good idea. I just got some massive clarity. Because remember, we get our best ideas in the shower. That's theta. And so your action step in theta is to listen. And the things you don't want to do because they'll pull you out of theta is get on your screens and expose yourself to any unnatural light. So this is like I've got a little red light right there. I encourage people at the beginning. I mean, I know you guys all know this already because you follow Sarah, but even like some red light bulbs and a lamp or something if you want to start small and simple. The next gear 2, is alpha. We also talked about this a little bit earlier. Alpha, I call her the connector. So again, she is flow state. She is present time consciousness. She is research shows that 5 minutes in alpha leads to peak performance all day.
Okay.
So for any of our overachievers listening, like I needed to hear this. When you're spending time in alpha, you are not wasting your time. You are essentially, like, if you need to hear this, you are in work mode. You are planting the seeds to get it done and get it done quicker and easier later in the day because you will peak perform. You will be in a flow state. You know, when you see people and they're just like in the groove and getting it done, like that will be you when you take a few minutes to go into alpha. Alpha, again, you want to watch your lighting. And this is like anything that helps connect you to you. So this could be, you know, where maybe you grab a journal. I like to do like a 1 or 2 questions. You could, I mean, I'm sure you could even chat GPT, like, what are some great journaling questions to connect me back to me? It could be something like, what would be the best thing I could do for myself today? What is the most stressful thing on my mind? What are current roadblocks and challenges? Like you're asking, it's like a call and response. So it's connecting you to you. This can also be where, you know, you connect with loved ones. So this is usually like if people follow me on socials, you'll usually see my 9-year-old daughter with me in my sit spot in the morning. So I always get up a little bit earlier than her so I can have my me time in theta. And then she kind of saunters out here and like we snuggle and maybe we read a little bit. It's just like super connecting and oxytocin and low key. My husband, who is very beta driven, he will come in and I'm like, dude, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet.
That's
He
me.
comes in.
When my husband's awake before me in the mornings, it's
Oh my
never
God.
good. I try to run directly outside because I'm like trying to stay. I'm like, when I can go get
I
on the
almost spit
ground,
my tea out.
I I go directly out down the stairs into the yard, sit on the grass. Just shh,
They
don't
just they just hit
show
it.
me
Like
Twitter X. I don't want to see it. I don't want no. I'll be back. Like,
don't talk about the date yet. Like my husband, when I hear him crack the knuckles, I'm like, oh no,
oh
he is like
no,
ready.
there's a
He's
sign.
ready to
He
he's
wants to
ready to
tell
hit the list.
mine will follow me into the bathroom. I'm like, no, this is not, I don't want to do this right now. It's too early. Because you don't, because you, when you understand how this stuff works, it's just like, no, you're actually going to make me not nice to you later. So just,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
Especially as women, we need this space. And like that's, you know, I think that's for me, and probably a lot of women relate to this. I think a lot of women maybe aren't protective or aware of
No,
how important this space is for us.
no.
That was part
Mhm.
of what got me sick also.
Yeah.
I love my husband. We have a great relationship. This is not like, I don't mean this to be husband bashing, but I tried to match his morning energy because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Like, I felt like, God, am I not enough? Am I not doing enough? Am I lazy? I'm not lazy. I'm a very hardworking woman, but my rhythm is not his rhythm.
Mm.
And so I've had to protect this space. And, you know, I saw a quote on Instagram at some point and I meant to save it, but it was something like, you know, becoming the whole or true version of yourself isn't always going to be easy and it's not going to necessarily be smooth. And what I saw in that was like these hard conversations I had to have with my husband where he could have felt like I was resisting him or pushing him away or, you know, like he wasn't enough for me. And it was the complete opposite. I just got to a point where I was like, oh my God, this is something that I need. And so we had to have it eventually became really beautiful and good conversations. Like, I will connect with you better later in the day if I have this time, just like you said, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, asking him what is it that he needs in the morning so I can help support him. And so he told me, he's like, I don't need to share Twitter or X. I don't need to talk about the day, but I need like physical connection. Like if,
Mm.
you know, you're just sitting next to me and your hands on my leg, okay, great. I could do that. I can like have my little book. I can have you next to me, but just please don't talk about emails and logistics till 7 a.m.
Yeah, give it a
Give me
time.
7 a.m.
When it is this time, we can begin the discussion of
Yeah.
the things to run the household and
Yes.
take care of the kids and all the financial stuff. It's just that your brain and your nervous system really needs that time. It really does. And it's, I know I'll get people, what do I do if I have to be up early for work? And that's a hard one. You have to figure out a way to give yourself time. And from what I heard, it doesn't mean an hour
Right.
necessarily. You said 5 minutes in theta, 5 minutes in alpha. That's like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
just don't open your phone, don't rush right into it. Stay in your bed, stay in your protective space,
Right.
because some days my daughter will run like down the stairs and then she'll grab an iPad and start blasting this horrible polka music at full blast. I'm like, I can't, like, I'll go in my
Yeah.
bathroom and just sit on the ground for a little bit and just take some time because I know when I get down there, it's going to be full blast. Um,
It's our gear up. It's literally our gear up.
yep.
And, and just so I get the other side of the day and the other gears for your listeners here, it's the same thing at the end of the day.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
I'm just going to use my husband as an example. I mean, we have our businesses together, and we would be in bed, and it would be something like, I don't know what we're going to do about this staff member. It's not working. Good night. And I'm like, wait. You can't do that to me. Right?
No.
Like I can't go into that gear and then go to bed.
Mhm,
And so
mhm,
just like we had the warm up in the morning, and if you have to wake up early, like Sarah said, like nobody's going to miss 5 to 10 minutes of extra sleep. But I promise you, as you start this practice, you will miss this practice.
mhm,
You'll start to realize the old way that you used to show up. Like I will never miss my 5 minutes in the morning. Sometimes it's
mhm,
five total for me. It's not even 10.
mm.
But same thing at night. And so,
Oh, the
we
night is
basically
sacred.
downshift. So you go back down. Gear 4 is alpha, gear 5 is theta. That gets you into delta deep sleep. And so the thing I want the listeners to realize as we wrap up this part here is, again, it doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be this 1 hour shower, bathrobe, whatever the
Mhm,
visual is that we created this wind down. It's protecting this space. So, perhaps it's this opportunity where you're like, I could get in one more email. I should really send that email before I go to bed so it's done. No, like you are going to be so much more time efficient tomorrow doing it in beta. And the most time efficient thing you can do right now is wind down.
yeah.
And so, candles for an evening routine and actually a morning routine, I do love. One more powerful piece of science I want to share, alpha. There's things in our brain called mirror neurons. They
Mm,
basically mirror the actions that we see in someone else, right? So with a baby, you smile at a baby smiles back. So our mirror neurons will react to a flickering flame, and our brain will literally go straight into alpha.
mm,
And so if you're having trouble winding down from the day, light a candle and look at it. Because
mm.
again, your nervous system can't help it. You could try to fight it. You could be playing your to-dos, or like, God forbid, that thing that happened today that's got you all triggered, and stare at a flame and you will drop down. And then theta, like read 2 minutes of a book. Read 2 minutes of a book. You don't have to read like a novel or an hour. Literally, the movement of your eyes across a page is a nervous system reset. It activates your corpus callosum, which balances both hemispheres of the brain and regulates your body.
I love that. And this is a stupid question, but a fire
Yes.
in your fireplace is same, right? Just having the
Better.
fire. Because
Better.
that's my favorite thing to do after the kids go to bed, of course,
Yeah.
is have a fireplace in my bedroom. And I've got a fireplace in the downstairs. And I love to just, at the end of the evening, everyone's in bed, cuddle up with a blanket and sit in front of the fire with no phone, no TV, nothing, just fire, me, blanket. I've been doing that ever since we moved into this house because I didn't have a fireplace in my last house. And I'm like, that's why, because it's putting me into alpha.
Yeah. You get like in a trance. We had a fireplace in our old house, and that was when I switched to my morning routine. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, let me just try, instead of opening my computer, let me light a fire. And it was the winter and it was
In
cozy.
the winter, I do that too in the mornings. Yeah. If it's dark and I've
Amazing.
woken up before sunrise, I'm by the fire. Yep.
Yeah, I love
And
that. We don't have a fireplace here, but that is, I mean, that is even better than a candle.
well, you're in Miami, so you
Yeah.
probably not a big fireplace market down there, I can assume.
Yeah, I would still do one. There's nothing like sitting around a fire at the end of the day
Oh, yeah. It's
or
the
the
best.
beginning.
It really
It's
is.
it's what we're supposed to do. That's what we used to do, right? There was
That is
no
what we
light after
did.
the sun went down
Right.
except for fire. So again,
All that
all
infrared.
we're doing,
Yeah.
yeah, we're recreating our natural environment that we were intended to live in, and we're reconnecting you to you.
I love that. And then one other thing, as I was kind of diving into some of this, alpha and the Schumann resonance, when we're grounding, is the same frequency, correct? So grounding can also put you into alpha. Am I making this up, or did I actually just
Um, I don't know if it's the same as the Schumann
Okay.
resonance according to the science, but I would this is what I would say that I do know. When you go in nature, you are in alpha. So now I
Yes.
want to look that up just so I'm sure,
I
but
found it. I did a reel on it, but I wanted to just see if
oh,
you had integrated that into any of your stuff. Yeah.
no, I haven't. I don't talk a lot about the Schumann resonance, but now I'm probably gonna.
Yes.
But yeah,
That
going outside gets you in alpha for sure. Grounding in nature gets you in alpha. It's the connector.
Yep. So you can double stack. You can go out there and look out for 2 minutes, put your feet on the earth. You can use concrete if you don't have grass or sand. It doesn't have to be perfect grass, as everyone thinks. And even running your hands under the water as you're doing dishes, that's grounding also. So,
Oh, yeah. I love that. And
yeah.
you think about all these things. Again, your nervous system is your intuition.
Yeah.
And he or she speaks to you in signals and symptoms. And so
Hmm.
all these things, when we've taken time to go in nature, to go in sand, to go to the beach, to daydream, it feels really good.
Hmm.
And so the ultimate goal I would have for everyone from this entire podcast is just get back to that.
Hmm.
Get back to feeling what feels good and just follow more of that because then you don't need to think about two, three, four. You don't need to think about anything.
Yep.
It's so bravely following our own voice and what feels good. And I promise when you can just take one step towards that and not worry about, like, okay, what am I leaving behind? Just take one step towards what feels good. Just do
Hmm.
it for 2 more minutes when you hear that
Yeah.
whisper asking you to. Everything in your life, you will do better because you have first focused on who you be.
Yeah.
And your body will tell you, your intuition will tell you. And the last thing I'll say about that, Sarah, you and I were kind of talking about this at the beginning. It's gotten so noisy out there. There's we have no shortage of information.
Hmm.
ChatGPT, Google, YouTube, podcasts. Like, let's get back to that.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. It's free. It's
Hmm.
always going to be accurate. I
Yeah.
think we've just forgotten to trust it. And I
Yeah.
hope that now having these tools to connect you to your nervous system, my essential goal is, I'm calling it nervous system. In a year or two, I'm gonna be so bold to be like, it's intuition. It's straight
Hmm.
up intuition.
Well, that it is, and I've talked about this with so many other quantum practitioners that do what I do, the circadian work. And this is the ultimate way to reconnect with your intuition is the groundwork of reconnecting to your intuition when you're synced up with the sun, when you're synced up with those light dark cycles, when you're synced up with seasons. I've had time and time again people tell me, wow, I'm so much more intuitive. It's like a part of myself that was lost for a very long time has now come back. And I think that that is so empowering for people because we're in this world, like we've mentioned so many times, that wants to disconnect us from our intuition so that we'll buy more of whatever or get more into fear-based mentality and that we don't have control and that we're all screwed and this scary place.
Mhm.
We have the opportunity to disconnect from that and reconnect to us, and it doesn't involve buying thousands of dollars worth of biohacking equipment. That's the main takeaway, I think, for me from this conversation. But
Yeah,
it
and it's easier because it's not becoming someone you're not. It's falling back into who you came here to be. This
yes.
isn't an addition. This is a subtraction. This is a letting go, and this is falling into you.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
I love it. I love it. Well, you have a new book, as you have mentioned.
I
The
do.
link to that will be down in the show notes, along with all the other ways people can find you. But if somebody is just driving and they definitely want that resource on those brainwaves, how do they pre-order your book? How do they find you? Besides the show notes, how can
Mhm.
they find that?
Um, if they're on socials, my handle is Be Inspired Mama, MAMA, and everything is linked there. My pre-order my book. The book is called The Connection Code because again, this is all about connection. And in that book, I've literally paired the neuroscience very simply with the ancient wisdom to get you back to your intuition. So they can probably just type in the connection code. It's on Amazon. It's Barnes and Noble online. It's Walmart, Target. It's everywhere online for pre-order right now. And then my podcast is the same name, Be Inspired Mama. And we can link my website below. I feel like that's longer. It's my full
Yep.
name, drmelissasaunders.com. But any of those will have links to everything.
Perfect. Well, I'll make sure all of that is in the show notes. And as always, super fun to chat. I know we'll do it again. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. I'm so glad I met you. I'm so glad I got time with you at the incredible event. And thank you for having me. I hope everybody got something out of this. I always love to hear from people. So message me. My favorite messages are when people say, something about what you said reminded me to blah, blah, blah. Right. And it's a reconnect to yourself. Like those are my favorites. So
Yes.
send them. I would love to hear.
Amazing. All right. Well, we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Sarah.